We've talked about something similar to this before. Let's talk about what do we need? What do we need as a country right now? What's the big battle we face? Because I go through the same thing you go through every day. Same thing. I went through the same thing this morning you went through. Woke up first thing, got the kiddos ready for school, to figure I'll check out what's in the news. Oh my gosh, it's all horrible. And you say to yourself, well, how do we fix it? I want to fix it. What's the problem? What is the problem? How do we fix this? And I've argued forever, and I'll always maintain this. The real problem is actually this. It's not the communists themselves. Now, they're a huge problem. Don't get me wrong, they are. But they're not really the problem. The problem is the people who the communists have in their sights that don't have any idea they are currently on somebody's menu and they're going to be eaten if they don't wake up. The problem is not you. The problem is all the people, the millions and millions of Americans who actually agree with you on the issues. They're really they're aligned with you, but they think they're still living in some sort of a normal country. Maybe things are a little out of whack. Maybe they're a little biased, but it's okay. I mean, everything's still normal, right? Hey, baseball still this Friday. Woohoo! That's the problem. Shaking that person awake to make them realize everything they're told is a lie is a chore. It's a journey. Some people can't even be saved. How do you have the conversation with somebody that if your CDC, your Center for Disease Control, recommends something, that's almost undoubtedly wrong? How do you convince someone of that? How do you wake someone up to this reality we live in that everything is a lie? Do you remember Michael Avenatti? Maybe you forgot because he was there for about 15 minutes, but do you remember how the American media covered Michael Avenatti? In case you've forgotten, here it is.
He's Donald Trump's worst nightmare. Michael Avenatti.
Joining us once again is Michael Avenatti.
Let's bring in Michael Avenatti.
Michael Avenatti. Michael Avenatti.
Michael Avenatti, thank you very much.
He's out there saving the country.
Don Meacham says he may be the savior of the republic.
You are something of a folk hero now.
I owe Michael Avenatti an apology. I've been saying enough already, Michael. I've seen you everywhere. What do you have left to say? I was wrong, brother. You have a lot to say. I am just dying to hear what you think.
These people all like you.
Michael Avenatti is laying down the law as guest co-host. And is he really thinking about running for president?
One reason why I'm taking you seriously as a contender is because of your presence on cable news.
You look at the field of Democrats right now, and Avenatti's the one who stands out.
If they decide they value a fighter most,
Yes.
people would be foolish to underestimate Michael Avenatti.
I have always said that they need a fighter.
Michael Avenatti just got sentenced to 14 years in prison for stealing millions of dollars from his clients. Back to the trust thing. How do you convince, I know you're already there, so right, it's just you and me talking here, but how do you convince your neighbor that whoever is being promoted on the news not only isn't as good as the news says he is, he's actually probably a horrific villain, and the more they promote him, the worse he is? How do you wake enough Americans up to that reality? But maybe I'm wrong. And this is what I mean by maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Americans really are waking up, and they're waking up slowly, slower than you would like, slower than I would like, but they are waking up. Newest media trust numbers come out, all-time low. 61% of Americans have no trust in the big traditional media sources, CBS, Washington Post, New York Times, the big ones. 61%. So let's pause here for a moment. If you're in the American media and you're watching your power slip away, because the only reason you have any power as someone in the media is people's trust. I don't think I have any power, but if you consider me to have any power at all, what actually gives me that power? Is it sitting down and doing a television show for you every night? No. The power comes from a bunch of you watching and trusting what you hear here, trusting what you see, trusting that it's real. That's where the power comes from. If you watch the show and I'm just lying to you every single night for 1 hour here on the First TV, then I lose all power because you're now disregarding me as some ridiculous clown, right? The power is the trust. The trust is the power. That's the way I want to say that. The trust is the power. So if you're the media and people are getting less and less trust in you, what's the solution? Well, that's what's funny about how this horrible corruption works and how late-stage republics act and how communists act. If you wanted my trust, let's say you lost my trust. Maybe I loaned you $100 and you went and spent it at Red Lobster instead of going to buy food for sick kids like you said you were going to. Okay, now I don't trust you anymore. You would understand that you need to get my trust back and that you would have to earn that trust back. Hey, Jesse, let me do something for you. Let me extend a hand. Let me pay you back with interest for that because I want to earn your trust. That's what you would do because you're a logical thinker. That's how you think about things. But late-stage republics do not act that way. This is amazing, but it is true. As the American media watches its power evaporate, as the trust evaporates, there's not a single person, not a single executive, producer, host, there's not a single person in the media out there right now who's having a heart-to-heart meeting, all hands on deck, staff meeting. Not a single one's having a meeting right now and saying to themselves, hey guys, we got to earn some trust back. Look, we have violated people's trust and we got to earn it back. None of them. It wouldn't even cross their minds. It's not how late-stage republics work. Instead, they're simply going to try to insulate themselves from losing what they have as trust goes away. Well, how do you do that? Well, there's no better way to do that than the government. If you were a piece of trash communist in the legacy media and you're watching your trust and power evaporate, you could try to earn it back, or you could just go lobby to add, what is it called again? The Journalism Competition and Preservation Act, the JCPA is what they shorten it up. You could just lobby to have that rolled into the Defense Authorization Bill. They are going to roll in a massive media handout, and they're going to roll it into a bill that's all about national defense. And reportedly, according to Breitbart, as you just saw, they are going to do it with the approval of one Mitch McConnell. You see, this is the problem. This is the big deal of big deals. And you saw, look, recently, the media got a big old black eye. Yet another black eye for the media. What was that black eye? It was Elon Musk and journalist Matt Taibbi. It was them joining forces to kind of open the books, if you will, and show what took place in social media when it came to Hunter Biden's laptop story. Everyone censored it. Everyone ignored it. They called it Russian disinformation. And they opened the books and showed, wow, this is really, really broken. So you just got exposed once again if you're the media. You just got exposed. You look really, really bad. How do you handle that? How do you earn that trust? Well, here's how they tried to handle it.
These so-called Twitter files were released late Friday afternoon. A Twitter employee indicated that the site had handled certain posts at the request of someone from the Biden campaign.
This weird story of a laptop left in some repair shop, it looked like a hack and leak.
The Hunter Biden laptop story to me is a story about addiction.
I don't think the Twitter files are exactly the Pentagon Papers.
There was no smoking gun evidence of a partisan conspiracy to censor.
Biden campaign wasn't the government.
It was a really helpful thing, actually, the Twitter files today, because we got to see how content moderation works.
The Rolling Stone, which calls it a snooze fest.
People were trying to do the right thing inside Twitter.
Musk's Twitter files produced no smoking gun.
The entire ethos of Republicans is victimism.
They'll be too busy with Hunter Biden's laptop.
Just focusing on Hunter Biden instead of real-world economic issues.
Does it seem like they're interested in earning that trust back at all? Of course they're not. Look, the Biden administration themselves, they're not concerned with it in the least. They asked Corinne Diversity Hire about it. She did the old Biden, it's old news.
We see this as an interesting or a coincidence, if I may, that that he would so haphazardly, Twitter would so haphazardly push this distraction. That is a full of old news, if you think about it. And at the same time, Twitter is facing very real and very serious questions about the rising volume of anger, hate, and anti-Semitism on their platform.
Don't you love how she gives press conferences? Don't you love it that she has to read it all? Well, I mean, guys, what you're looking at here, Twitter, it basically don't hire diversity hires people. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right.